Hey, Pastor Mark here. So we're in what is called the Holy Week of Easter, right? And primarily that really means what's today, Monday, Thursday, Good Friday, leading up to the great celebration of the resurrection on Sunday, which I can't wait for. Invite your friends to join us for our online Easter service, 9:15, 11, 6 p.m. It's going to be dynamite. So Monday, Thursday, that was the day that seemed to be, that was the last and final day that Jesus had with his disciples before he was turned over for his crucifixion, which would be tomorrow on that Good Friday. So he did a number of things on that last and final day, but one of the things we want to bear in mind is he knew his crucifixion was coming. He came for that reason. He had an appointment with the cross. Nothing was going to detour him. So it wasn't taken by surprise that he was going to be handed over and crucified. He knew that. So how he spent his last minutes with his followers was very intentional. It wasn't later he goes, oh, I wish I would have done this like we could. He knew what was coming. And so what do? Quickly, he has a Last Supper with him, right? That's where we get the Last Supper, and he instituted what the Eucharist, communion, what we celebrate. So he has a supper with his guys. He says, this is my body, which is broken for you in the blood of a new covenant, and he explains that. He brings that in now. He says, the old covenant's passed away. This is brand new. So they're going, oh, they understood words like covenant. And so this is the new covenant. The old one's gone. This is the new covenant. And then he does something radical. He gets up from the table. He girds himself with the towel, takes a basin of water, and he washes their feet, which is an act of a servant, right? An act of humility. They have been looking up to him. They believe that he's the Messiah. He's the Lord. They call him that. And here he is washing their feet, and it's like they don't get it. Then the night goes on. Couple other things transpired. Judas leaves to go do his dastardly deed, and then he turns to them and he says, here it is. I've got a new commandment for you. That's the word Monday. It's a Latin term for command. I've got a new commandment. And again, that's language they understood. They knew commandment. All right, Moses, prophets, tablets, commandments. Here it is. Here's the new commandment. We got a new covenant, and here's a new commandment. What is it? And Jesus says, here's the new commandment that I'm giving you. That you love one another. Just as I have loved you, you are to love one another. It's like, that's it, guys. That's the great commandment. That you love one another. How? Just as I have loved you. Not only does it display what he just did by washing their feet, showing that to be great is to be the servant, to put others first. That's what greatness is. That's what power looks like, is coming and serving and loving. But they watched him love so wonderfully for 3 years. He's like, this is your commandment, not a suggestion. He knew religion would come, try to manipulate and market and do everything else. He goes, but here's what I'm telling you. The commandment is to love one another. And then he says, here's a caveat. This is how those on the outside, they're going to know that you're my disciples. It's not by that you don't do these things or you've instituted this or you gather on this day. He said the way that they're going to know you're my disciples is the love that you have for one another. So to honor Monday, Thursday is really to honor that commandment, that we think about that. Give that some meditation. What does that look like in my life with my spouse, with my children, with my parent, with my neighbors, with my coworkers? What does that look like? The greatest, to love one another as Christ loved us. I don't know about you, but that's an ongoing lesson to learn, and walking that out and learning new ways. But that's our encouragement. Let's honor this day. Let's honor that commandment, that Monday commandment to love one another, and however God leads you to do that. We'll be mindful of that. We'll see you tomorrow. We're going to celebrate Good Friday, and we'll talk about why it's so good. All right, God bless you guys.